Hi, and thank you for visiting Baby Liddy Consulting. My name is Sandy Brainerd. I'm going to answer a few questions today so that you can get to know me and how I might be able to help you and your family.
What made you want to work with kids in this age group and their families?
Well, I'm really drawn to this age group because I think that they are the most vulnerable in our society. I think that because obviously they can't speak, that it is important for us to try and see things from their point of view, understand what their needs are. We're so busy in our society that we often can project what we think is going on. And with babies, the important thing to do is to slow down and try and understand with the signals that they do offer what is really going on with them.
And why Rye?
Well, let me talk for a second about Rye. I didn't mention that, but I'd like to start with what happened in my own personal life. My boy, Hank, who's 12 now, when he was a baby, a friend of mine had told me about RIE, which stands for Resources for Infant Educarers. And that is something that originated in Los Angeles, where we moved from a couple years ago. And so I took my son there when he was an infant, and I gained so much helpful information that I wanted to pass it on to families. And one of the reasons why it was so helpful to me, especially in my son's first year, was that he was diagnosed with a heart condition. He's fine and doing well, but at the time we weren't sure how severe his condition was, because he was born premature and they really couldn't get a good look at him. So what RIE did for me personally was it helped me to let go and trust that my son was going to be okay, and really focused my time and my attention on what I could do to help him. And so, I certainly have a whole repertoire of things I could talk about when it comes to RIE. So we'll have to do that in a more of a situation where I have more time. But that was what started my passion of working with babies and families.
How does it help families?
Well, as I already said, it helped me personally to let go, and I think it helps families in today's environment to kind of go back to the basics of how to be with infants. And by going back to the basics, such as not giving them things that entertain them, but giving them simple toys where they use their imagination. Just that simple little bit of information, I think, clears away a lot of what families feel the pressure to do. So many advertisements today are about teaching your baby at very, very young ages to learn sign language, to read. And I think what gets lost is the plan that nature has for their development, and that when they practice what they know, that they become confident little babies.
Why haven't we heard more about RIE?
I think that the reason that you don't hear a lot about RIE is because they aren't in the market to sell things. So consequently, there's not a lot of money to be made in RIE. And I think, too, families have really been sold a bill of goods about that their babies are these empty vessels and they need to put things in them, put information in them, push them to become smarter and better and faster. And RIE is really somewhat the opposite of that. RIE is much more an organic, natural, down-to-earth way to be with little ones.
What happens in a group class?
Well, group classes are really fascinating because what happens is the parents get to kind of use this hour and a half or so to really relax and spend time observing their little one interacting with other children. And what I do is I monitor the interaction between the babies, and I model a respectful way of how to set boundaries with little ones while allowing them lots and lots of chances to make their own decisions and play with simple objects in really creative ways.
Tell us about a home visit.
A home visit for the purposes of a newborn, it's a little bit different for a little bit older babies, but when we're dealing with a newborn, it's really about setting up a routine. I work very closely with the parents about expectations and the importance of keeping stress at a minimum in their own personal lives. Because so often the stress that comes with having a newborn is you don't know what to expect. And so you can come up with all kinds of things to be afraid of if your baby isn't behaving the same way as another baby. And as we know, they're all very different and they have very different temperaments. So I work closely with the individual baby to help the parents come to know that baby in a way that brings about some acceptance and some relaxation in the home. And then as they grow, I help families to understand what is an environment that will assist their baby's development and at the same time help their baby to have confidence and self-esteem and all the things that we want to instill in our children so that when they move into an environment such as preschool, that they will really already understand about how to take care of themselves. A lot of what I will work with a family on is inviting their baby to participate in their own care. It's very hard to cover everything in a short few-minute video, but I would like to wrap up by saying that I am by no means an expert on babies, and I'm not an expert in Rye, but I do have a lot of experience, and I have a tremendous amount of passion that I would like to share what I have learned and have found helpful and what other families feel like I've been helpful in their lives to anyone who's interested. So I thank you for your time.